In the vibrant heart of summer, Maya returned from her study abroad program in South America, filled with tales of adventure and a newfound love for exotic cuisines. Her excitement was palpable, her stories infectious, and her appetite, strangely, seemed insatiable. Initially, her friends envied her boundless energy and her ability to devour any meal. Yet, as weeks turned into months, concern replaced envy. Maya, despite consuming meals fit for two, began to wither away, her once radiant face now gaunt, her eyes sunken with a hunger that seemed unquenchable. Her transformation was alarming. Clothes hung loosely on her frame, and her vitality faded as if sapped by an unseen force. Friends whispered concerns, urging her to seek medical help. Maya resisted, attributing the weight loss to stress and a busy college schedule, until one fateful morning when she awoke to a pain so severe, it felt as though her insides were being twisted into knots. The diagnosis was as swift as it was horrifying. An extensive tapeworm, lurking within her since her return, had been feasting on her nutrients. The revelation came with a mix of relief and terror. Relief, because the cause of her suffering had a name. Terror, for the entity that had made her body its home. The removal process was grueling. Under the harsh lights of the operating room, doctors extracted the parasite, a creature so long it seemed endless. Maya, in her fragile state, could barely comprehend the magnitude of the horror that had been living inside. The physical recovery was slow but steady, her body gradually reclaiming its strength, yet the psychological scars remained. Maya found herself haunted by a perpetual fear of food, of what unseen dangers might lurk within. Nights were restless, filled with nightmares of the parasite still writhing within her. Maya's ordeal ended, but the whisper of the tapeworm's presence lingered, a haunting reminder of her brush with a true horror that was all too real. She moved forward, cautious and forever changed, her tale a chilling testament to the unseen dangers that can reside within. The Allen family's move to the countryside was supposed to be the beginning of a serene, idyllic life. The house, an architectural relic, charmed them with its rustic beauty and whispered promises of peace. Yet the dream quickly soured, as the family encountered oddities that went beyond the creaking floors and the drafty windows. The house seemed to harbor a malevolent presence, manifesting not through apparitions, but through a far more insidious medium. It started with mild annoyances, itchy skin, fatigue, and occasional stomach pains that the family attributed to the stress of moving and the adjustment to a new environment. But as weeks passed, the symptoms evolved into something more disturbing. The children complained of nightmares where they were consumed from within, their pleas for help echoing through the sleepless nights. Driven by a growing concern, Elizabeth and Tom sought medical opinions, only to be met with bafflement. Tests revealed nothing conclusive, yet the family's health continued to decline. Desperate for answers, they turned to local historians, uncovering the house's grim past. It had been built atop an old medical facility that researched parasitic diseases, including a tapeworm strain thought to be extinct. The revelation struck a chord of terror within the family. The connection between their symptoms and the house's history was too stark to ignore. With the help of specialists, they embarked on a dual quest to rid their bodies of the parasites and cleanse the house of its dark legacy. The treatment was as brutal as the infestation, involving rigorous medication and, in some cases, surgery to remove the worms that had taken residence in their bodies. As the family recovered, the house too underwent a transformation. Rooms were sealed and then reopened, cleansed of the lingering traces of its morbid past. Yet, despite the efforts to eradicate the physical presence of the tapeworms, the psychological scars remained. Nightmares of the infestation persisted, a haunting reminder of the time when their home turned into a living horror story. The Allens learned to live with these reminders, their love for each other deepened by the ordeal. Yet they couldn't shake off the feeling that the house, for all its restored beauty, still hid secrets in its ancient walls, secrets that whispered of horrors inherited from the past, waiting silently for the next chapter to unfold. The Parasite's Whisper. Dr. Julian Hartwell, a renowned parasitologist, had dedicated his life to the study of tapeworms, those elusive creatures that thrived in the shadows of their hosts. His fascination with these parasites was not just scientific. It bordered on the obsessive, driven by a theory that tapeworms could influence human behavior far beyond the known physical symptoms. Julian believed that through these creatures, the boundaries of consciousness could be explored, perhaps even expanded. His colleagues dismissed his theories as the eccentricities of a brilliant mind straying into the realms of fiction. Undeterred, Julian embarked on a daring, ethically murky experiment. He would become the host to a tapeworm, meticulously documenting its effects on his body and mind. The initial days post-infestation were uneventful, save for the expected discomfort. But as the weeks progressed, Julian noted changes that were as intriguing as they were alarming. He began experiencing shifts in his appetites, not just for food but for knowledge, craving subjects far afield from his expertise. His dreams became vivid tapestries of alien landscapes, where he was both observer and participant, guided by an intelligence that was not entirely his own. Julian documented these experiences with clinical detachment, even as he felt his grip on reality begin to wane. The line between researcher and subject blurred as Julian delved deeper into the parasite's influence. He theorized that the tapeworm was not just a physical entity, but a kind of symbiotic consciousness, whispering thoughts and desires into the recesses of his mind. His notes, once meticulous, became a chaotic mix of scientific observations and existential musings, a testament to his fracturing psyche. The climax came one stormy night when Julian, driven by a compulsion he could no longer resist, broke into his own laboratory. He intended to free the tapeworms, to allow them to find new hosts, to spread this newfound consciousness. It was only the timely intervention of his colleagues that prevented the disaster. Julian was found ranting about the awakening that awaited humanity, a future where human and parasite would merge into a higher form of life. The aftermath was a hushed-up scandal. Julian's research was discredited, and he himself was subjected to treatment, both for the tapeworm and his psychological condition. Yet, even as he recovered, a part of him longed for the clarity the parasite had offered. He had glimpsed a world beyond the human, a world where the whisper of the parasite promised secrets not meant for mortal minds. The story of Dr. Julian Hartwell became a cautionary tale about the dangers of blurring the lines between observer and subject, between human and parasite. But for Julian, the whisper of the tapeworm remained, a seductive echo of a truth he had touched but could never fully grasp again.